Braden Pacey on the inside of that third row. The lights have gone out. We're going racing right now for the Production Sedan Feature Race here at Ian Butcher. Oh, look out, Pacey, what are you doing? He was up on the grass. Oh dear. Braden Pacey was up on the grass. Braden Pacey. You're not going to start out of position number 5. You're going to start at whatever it is, 24 or something at the back of the pack. Versus Chris Pagel off the front row. Watch for a green one this time. Pagel gets the better of the jump on the outside. Caldoulis tries to stick the nose up underneath. It doesn't work. And Chris Pagel leads through the western corner for the first time with a whole big angry field behind him. And Neil Caldoulis getting a little bit bargy back there in the middle of the pack, and he's going to go backwards through the field unless he can get it back on the race groove, because David Barbala has got himself up into position number 2. They're all chasing Chris Pagel. Neil Caldoulis has driven around the outside into position number 2. Barbala's got some problems with the 88 car, but he manages to get it back on the groove as the angry field behind him settles down to chase Chris Pagel, Neil Caldoulis, David Barbala back there in position number 3. Back behind them would be James Elliott in the 26 car. Down the back chute as Hayden Turner trying to get himself up a bit closer to the front of the field, but they're all still chasing Chris Pagel. Pagel under the tower he goes. Neil Caldoulis in position number 2. Back then we go to David Barbala to the better of James Elliott. And the chasing second car at the moment, that's Neil Caldoulis. Caldoulis just to the better of David Barbala, who's got his hands full now with that of James Elliott. And James Elliott has taken the 26 car into position number 3. David Barbala would be the next one. Back then we go to Dakota Laverty. And behind her, here comes James Elliott. Elliott up underneath. Neil Caldoulis will have to fight hard to hold on to his second place. Can't get it back on the line. James Elliott down underneath. Neil Caldoulis stays up near the concrete, but James Elliott has gone into position number 2. And Neil Caldoulis drops back to 3, and they would be at least a third, maybe half a lap behind Chris Pagel, who's just bolted out in front. Big bump then by Neil Caldoulis. Leader one more time. Down the main straightaway and under the tower he goes. And that is Chris Pagel. Just going under the tower right now, James Elliott. Back behind him is still Neil Caldoulis, and then we go to David Barbala, Dakota Laverty, Hayden Turner, but they're a half a lap behind as their race leader puts another lap down on the journey. A long way back in second place, James Elliott trying to get around the outside now. It's Neil Caldoulis. We got a yellow one. Car 92 facing the wrong way, Adam Buchan, and that will close the field up. Chris Pagel, James Elliott, Neil Caldoulis, David Barbala, green one, let's go racing. Chris Pagel, James Elliott, Neil Caldoulis, here comes Dakota Laverty, up the inside of David Barbala. Barbala fights back on the outside. Dakota Laverty down the inside, the two of them can't. There's a little bit of touch. It's Stephen Freeman on the outside. We've got him 3 and 4 wide under the tower. Hayden Turner is there as well, and they're all behind David Barbala as they head towards the western corner. Chris Pagel, James Elliott, Neil Caldoulis. Then David Barbala has got an angry pack behind him. Dakota Laverty has got on his hammer. Then we've got Hayden Turner. In there is Stephen Freeman and Charlotte Christensen as well, and Braden Pacey has caught up to this group as well as they go under the tower one more time Have a look back here for 4th, 5th and 6th. It is still David Barbara at the moment. Dakota Laverty high on the racetrack. Can't get enough drive as David Barbara bounces it through and stays in position number 4 through the western corner. Chris Pagel under the tower, James Elliott, Neil Caldulis. Then the action here is Dakota Laverty on the outside of David Barbara, and Dakota Laverty may have got herself up into position number 4. David Barbara fights back on the inside. Stephen Freeman's the other one on the outside, and Hayden Turner would be the next one, and then Braden Pacey, they take the white flag. The big field of cars in behind as Braden Pacey mercs down the inside, but I can tell you down the main straight for the final time, Chris Pagel's taken it out. Chris Pagel, James Elliott, back then to Neil Caldulis in front of Dakota Laverty, Braden Pacey in front of David Barbara. Stephen Freeman and Hayden Turner. Greer has got himself up in about position 5 or 6 to finish it. As he does his lap of honour, folks, put your hands together for him, Chris Pagel. Another production win under his belt.